Welcome back to 5-Minute Fantasy Football, presented to you by the Sports Gambling Podcast Network and our friends over at Underdog Fantasy. Make sure you go to Underdog, download Underdog, and use promo code FFSGPN so they know we sent you. You got to pick 3 or more player props on their pick'em. Pick the higher or the lower, and I want to show you this new feature. You can actually tease the prop so you can go up and down. It does change the odds a little bit, but it does give you some more to play with. So if you're really confident in Aaron Jones, rushing plus receiving, then you can tease it up a little bit and take the higher, or you can raise the bar and still take the lower. I love that. Underdog giving you a lot of options. Still, as always, the best game out there. Now let's get back into my fantasy football rankings this week. We have Josh Allen at the number 1 spot for quarterbacks, Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts, Jaden Daniels, Justin Herbert, Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, Baker Mayfield, CJ Stroud, Kyler Murray, Bo Nix, and Anthony Richardson. Jared Goff makes number 13. This week, guys, I'm higher on, a little lower on the list, is Trevor Lawrence. People are pretty low on Trevor this week. I'm higher. I like the rushing upside. I think he does play this week. And Houston's been allowing a ton of passing yards. We saw Cooper Rush throw for 350. We saw Will Levis throw 250 and 2 touchdowns. I think Trevor Lawrence has a good bounce back week as they get him back against the Houston Texans. Let's talk about my running back rankings. Joe Mixon. If you are one of the guys on Reddit that hated on me last week because I had him at RB10, you guys talked me into moving him to RB4. He ended up finishing RB 17, 18. He was terrible last week. I think he bounces back. I think he's got a huge week. He gets a beautiful matchup. Joe Mixon gets the Jacksonville Jaguars. They can't stop a nosebleed. They're definitely not going to stop Joe Mixon from dancing all over the end zone. Probably gets 2 touchdowns to make up for last week. Jahmyr Gibbs at number 2. Alvin Kamara number 3. Saquon at 4. Apparently that is way too low for Saquon. We'll see. It is Baltimore. It's a tough matchup. Bijan Robinson at 5. Derrick Henry at 6. Josh Jacobs at 7. Devon Achane at 8. Christian McCaffrey at 9. It seems weird, but it's a tough matchup, and the offense just has been struggling a bit. Jonathan Taylor at 10. Chase Brown at 11. Kyren Williams at 12. And James Cook at 13. I'm a little lower on, a little bit lower on Christian McCaffrey. People, the ECR has him at 6. Again, it just comes down to he just hasn't been himself. He's been getting good volume, but we'll see how this offense looks. I still am starting Christian McCaffrey. I'm just lowering expectations a little bit with all 32 teams playing. James Cook, last week, 2 touchdowns against the Chiefs. Really tough matchup. I think ECR is too low at 16. I got him at 13. I like his involvement in the passing game since Dalton Kincaid has been out. It's not been Dawson Knox season. It's been James Cook season. James Cook has 15 targets, 11 receptions in the last 3 weeks. Then on the ground, he put 2 touchdowns together for us last week. He has 11 touchdowns on the year. Bills have 30-plus points in 5 straight games. Let's go Buffalo. Now let's talk about the receivers. At the number 1 spot for the receivers this week, I have Mr. Jamar Chase. Nico Collins at 2, A.J. Brown at 3, Puka Nacua at 4, Justin Jefferson at 5, Amon-Ra St. Brown at 6, Cooper Kupp at 7, T. Higgins at 8, CeeDee Lamb at 9, Cortland Sutton at 10, 11 is Drake London, 12 is Mike Evans. 2 guys that I'm higher on this week, Cortland Sutton. I think it's time we give him some respect. This guy's been playing really, really well. I know the touchdowns were really high, but the yardage and the total volume of receptions were down because of the drops and just the inefficient play last year. He's been really good with Bo Nix. Bo Nix is also someone I'm higher on this week. But Scary Terry McLaurin is number 5 on the season overall in points. Points per game, he's at 17, so temper expectations a little bit. But they got him at 21 for ECR, and I really like him. I think the touchdown upside is there. I think that the volume upside is there. He's a clear-cut number 1 offense with a good quarterback on a good team, on a good offense with a good matchup. They got 3 out of their top 5 starters from the Tennessee Titans on secondary are not playing. They've traded away some of their best defensive players, Ernest Jones, as well as another pass rusher. I'm going to go with Terry McLaurin as one of my starts of the week. Let's talk about the tight end position. Kyle Pitts is someone I'm lower on. I got him at 17. Everybody, send your apologies, your tweets. and your texts and everything. Arthur Smith. Jonnu Smith was the real deal, and we just didn't recognize it. Kyle Pitts is good, but Kyle Pitts has also been inconsistent as more of a streaming option. He's not been the guy we expected him to be, not the volume guy he was under Matt Ryan. And it just excuses, there's enough. There's too much excuses for this guy. He just doesn't put it in every week. Yeah, he's a startable streaming option this week, but with everyone playing, I'm okay with sitting Kyle Pitts. Travis Kelce, number 1. Trey McBride, number 2. Brock Bowers, number 3. Should have been number 1 because the Chiefs are the number 1 team to face against tight ends, and they showed it. Brock Bowers balled out. Taysom Hill at 4. TJ Hawkinson at 5. Hawkinson, he went to town last week in the fourth quarter. Jonnu Smith, like I said, he is him, and Jonnu Smith is 6. Is probably too low. George Kittle at 7. Cade Otton at 8. Sam Laporta at 9. Laporta is back, baby. We are back. David Njoku at 10. Evan Ingram at 11. That seems so low, but there's just good options this week. Tight ends finally coming back. Dallas Goedert at 12 with Devonta Smith injury. Tucker Kraft, I had him a little too low, I guess. Tucker Kraft probably should have been in the top 10. And then Hunter Henry, Will Dissly, Mark Andrews. Tight end position is just I hate to say it, but it just seems deep. Let's go into my kickers and my defense before we get out of here. Make sure you comment any of your start-sit questions, and I hope you guys had a great Thanksgiving. Top 15 defenses: Rams, Patriots, Giants, Chargers. Tampa Bay is at 11. Colts at 10. Seattle at 9. Minnesota at 8. Buffalo at 7. Washington gets Tennessee. Great matchup, the number 1 matchup to face. They're at number 6 for me. Kansas City had Las Vegas. They're at 5. I think I was a little too high. I was higher than them in the ECR, and I lost on that one. I probably should have put the Commanders above them. Lions at 4. Cowboys at 3. Denver Broncos at 2. Houston Texans at 1. If Trevor Lawrence plays, I may bump the Texans down a little bit, but I can't go too far, and 2 of my top 4 have already played this week. Let's go into my kickers. Jake Bates. Get the man a picture. He played already, and he played well. Cameron Dicker the kicker, is balling. Parker Romo. Yeah, he's another guy that's playing really, really well. Chase McLaughlin, Joshua Carty, some new names up here, and good to see for, just for football in general. Kami Fairbairn, he's just so consistent, so good. Will Lutz, he's had a resurgence in his career. Younghoe Koo struggled a little bit this year, but he's doing well. Brandon McManus doing really well in Green Bay. Aubrey, it's been a little bit of a struggle, but he did okay this week. Chris Boswell at 11 and Justin Tucker at 12. Tucker is reaching the twilight of his career. So that is 5-Minute Fantasy Football. As always, good luck this season.